Hi and welcome back to the Hydonso region. My name is Mads and I'm on a mission to remake my childhood Fakemon. In this episode, we are creating Pokemon based on integration and intervention. Integration is all about combining different elements to create something unified. A good example of this is my concept of camping Pokemon, where humans and Pokemon coexist in harmony, working together as a part of the same environment. It also includes Pokemon that have formed close, collaborative relationship with people. Intervention, on the other hand, is about interference, changing the course of events or outcomes. This is the key theme in the story that I'm writing, where speculative future evolution, Pokemon, ends up in the present due to actions that humans make. It's also reflected in concepts like AI Pokemon or Pokemon from alternative dimensions that I've also created. I talk more about this in the starter Pokemon video. Now, while we are on the topic of Pokemon from another dimension, let's talk about this little Eye Pokemon. This one actually has a bit of a history behind it. Originally created in 1998, I recreated it in 2020, but somehow I never really found the right video to feature it, until now. Meet Predeye, an amphibian with an eyeball with a club ball for a tail. Of course, its name comes from predator and eye. While I was happy with my 2020 design, I felt like it could use a little update. Over the years, I learned a lot about Pokemon design, so I wanted to apply that knowledge to improve it. Originally, Predeye had spikes, so I played around with the idea of having a more rocky textured exterior. But in the end, I decided to stick with the leaf feather look from the 2020 version, which suited it more because I wanted to live in a jungle-like environment. Predeye can move its one pupil around its entire body, except of course where its eyelids are. It's a bit unsettling, but that is what makes it such an intriguing and unique Pokemon design. I've taken inspiration from poison-dart frogs and various eyeball-like creatures, which in the end makes it look kinda alien-like, which is good because it's from a different dimension either way, and it looks pretty cute. So keep an eye on Predeye, the eyeball Pokemon. Poison type, ability Keen Eye and Dry Skin. Hidden ability Hydration. Dex entry. Predeye is an invasive species that appeared only a few years ago, with no prior records. It's mostly found around the habitat of Wormhole, leading some to speculate that it might originate from another dimension. Some suggest naming it UB Eyeball. Predeye attacks anything that moves. Once it locks onto a prey, it doesn't stop until it succeeds. Lacking a mouth, it uses the slime around its eyeball to dissolve and consume its prey. Its unusual anatomy only adds to the theory that it could be from another dimension. And for its shiny, it takes inspiration from its original design from 1998, giving it this golden purple combination, which is quite cool, don't you think? Actually, I'm quite curious what you think about Predeye in general. I can totally see this little guy popping up in a jungle being all cute and all, but then attack you. But of course, it evolves, and it would make sense that its evolution has something I've related as well, right? So in order to evolve Predeye, you need to level up knowing the move Lock On, and you will get Eyepex. Upon evolution, Predeye turns into this fierce predator, now with 4 legs and a scorpion-like tail. True to its name, Apex Predator plus Eye makes it a scary and formidable creature. I really loved the initial sketch of its design, but it took me a while to get the line art just right. The concept itself was pretty straightforward though. I wanted to make it more expressive compared to its 2020 version, which was difficult with its lacking a face and all of that. But I'm very pleased to how it turned out. When it comes to the color, I went back and forth for a while between red and orange, especially on the pupil but also the stripes. You see, I was kind of obsessed over giving it the Sharingan from Naruto, but in the end I settled with orange. It just looked better. I also played around with its scorpion-like tail, if that should be orange, if the toes or the nails should have orange in them as well, but ultimately decided against it because I felt like it was too distracting from the overall design. But Eyepex is not distracted when it hunts you, so watch out. Eyepex, the eyeball Pokemon. Poison fighting type. Ability, no guard and dry skin. Hidden ability, hydration. Dex entry. Eyepex poses a serious threat to the region's ecological balance. Many species are struggling to cope with their habitats, eggs and lives being taken. Once it locks onto its prey, Eyepex never misses, thanks to its ability to move its eye across its entire body. In response, Clubadon has been released into the wild as a natural countermeasure, making the two Pokémon fierce rivals. Some scientists have raised concern about the sudden mutations in various species around the same time Eyepex was first spotted, suggesting a potential connection. Eyepex has been classified as UB Vision, and just like its pre-evolution, Eyepex Shiny is as well inspired by its 1998 colors, being all golden and purple. What do you think about Eyepex? I love how unique and creepy it looks. I could totally see this creature sneaking around looking for its next prey. So in order to not become its next meal, you should subscribe. So, if we got an Eyepex predator like that, we need something to challenge it, right? And this is actually another design I've been eager to make a video about for a while. I first created this Pokemon back in 2006 during class, and I loved it so much that I even decided to make it into a starter Pokemon at the time. Fast forward to 2014 when I revisited the design during an English test. This is when its evolution started to have its own personality. Let's start with Clubcub, a mix of club like a weapon and a cub as in young carnivorous mammals. Though I have to admit I'm quite a fan of its original name that I gave it. Mollip. The same goes for its original design. I loved it so much that I wanted to stay true to that, just giving it an updated look. The concept is still the same, a dinosaur-like creature with a club tail, but with a playful, curious personality of a young lion cub. Think Simba from The Lion King, for example. It didn't take long to find a pose that I liked, but I did spend quite a while experimenting with colors. I almost gave it this brownish orange coloring, which looked cool, but in the end I wanted to stick with the original colors. It just felt so right. Behold, Clubcub, the loyal Pokemon. Steel type, ability Rockhead and Guts, hidden ability Weak Armor, Dex entry. Clubcub has a long history with humans, being one of the first Pokemon befriended by the indigenous tribes. Known for their loyalty and protectiveness, they make ideal partners for new trainers. In ancient times, tribes believed Hydofender and Clubcub formed the perfect defense against threats. Wild Clubcubs lives in mountains and forest habitats, always alert and ready to help those in need. With their solid head protection and a club tail, they fearlessly defend their territory. And for its shiny, it shouldn't be a surprise that I ended up giving it the brownish orange coloring. So what do you think about Clubcub? I'm pretty sure that 11-12-year-old mans would have absolutely loved how this one turned out. And if you are too, why don't you give this video a like to show your support? It really helps, thank you very much. Because you've shown that love, it will evolve again. Because this is exactly how it evolves. It is the representation of integration of both Pokemon and humans. So naturally, Clubcub evolved with high friendship into Clubadon. From the combination of club, the weapon, and the Greek word of tooth, often used in dinosaur names. There's always that one Pokemon in every video that I make that is more challenging than the rest. For this one, it was Clubadon. The main issue was I wasn't quite sure what direction I wanted to go in. I loved the idea of blending a lion with a dinosaur-like creature, so I started researching both. This led me to the Chinese lion-looking dragons and other mythical creatures that share the same vibe. Eventually, I also got inspired by old flags with lions on them that has this draconic look to them. The cool thing about all of them is that all this inspiration has a common theme: protecting something. This fits perfectly with my idea of adding a shield to Clubadon in addition to its club tail. As I kept on sketching, the face mask slowly evolved into something more shield-like with every new iteration. For a while I was concerned that it might be too similar to Arcanine, so I really focused on pushing the dragon elements and considered how this creature would move through the jungle environment that it now lives in. I wanted the hair to make sense too, so I thought of it as steel or chainmail hair, which fits the dragon lion hybrid theme and could even tie into the Pokemon's lore. I eventually landed on a pose similar to Clubcub, but once again the colors was an issue. After several attempts, I almost settled on the brownish orange coloring again, which looked great, but I ultimately decided to go with a green and silver look, similar to Clubcub, to keep the consistent feel. That roar is Clubadon, the Peace Protector Pokemon. Steel Dragon type, ability sturdy and defiant, hidden ability battle armor, dex entry. The bond between humans and Clubcub led to the evolution of Clubadon. For centuries, these Pokemon have helped maintain peace and balance in the region. Its close relationship with the indigenous people has allowed them to use its scales for armor and protection. In modern times, Clubadon has become more aggressive due to humans' growing disconnect with nature. Activists movements now urge the region to resist the rise of dystopian ideals that promote disconnect. The invasive Eyepex has become a threat, boosting the Clubadon population and turning them into natural enemies. It should be no surprise that a shiny is the orange-brown colors that I almost went with. I think it turned out quite well as a shiny. So what do you think? I'm quite pleased with how Clubadon turned out. I didn't expect it to end up like this, which is always fun, and it still maintains elements from its original design. And I can totally picture it going head to head with Eyepex. And I like that both of them has this tail weapon that they can use for battling. I would love to hear your thoughts on this line and its lore. I'm looking forward to all your comments and feedback. And while you're down there writing, let me tell you about the next one. Yes, we are not done yet. We are revisiting a Fakemon many of you have seen before. Yep, it's Santalune line again. Now, if you take a closer look at Santalune's middle evolution, you will notice there are some features there that never made into the redesign that eventually turned into Pineowl. And you might have seen a few videos ago, I introduced an evolution of 4 Santalune inspired by the Spink from The Future is Wild called Underowl. And while I was working on Underowl, I got this idea to evolve it even further into Terraowl. Yes, of course, we need to keep the bad naming all the way through the line. One of the key inspiration for Terraowl was the Terraowl from Afterman. It's a rabbit that has evolved to have teeth looking like a beak, and it's nearly blind. Felt like the perfect direction to take Underowl. Fun thing about Pokemon design is that you can take inspiration from something and flip it into something totally new. So we are going to do the opposite, a bird evolving into a rabbit-like creature. I talked earlier about how speculative evolution Pokemon could be the result of human intervention, but what if this Pokemon has to evolve again to survive in an environment where many future creatures suddenly exist? The idea of balance becomes key. Underowl has to find its perfect form to thrive in this chaotic world. Looking back, the original design from 1998 and 2005 had long ears. And honestly, The body shape was already there. All I did was to add some pine-like elements, although you could argue that it's more clay-like since it's now underground and all. This is why I decided to give it an evolution method inspired by the peat block, which allows it to evolve into Terraowl. I think it's such a cool concept, but hey, if you have a better idea, I'm all ears. Terraowl, the future Terraowl Pokemon. Ground normal type. Ability soundproof and tangling hair. Hidden ability solid rock. Dex entry. When Pokemon glimpse into the future, it doesn't mean they all evolve into the same time period. This creates competition for food and territory, which leads to some Pokemon evolving further to adapt. One such Pokemon is Underowl, which evolves again into Terraowl in response to these struggles. To survive, Terraowl has hardened its fur for better protection, much like its cousin Pineowl. The addition of large ears helps it spot predators more easily and compensate for its poor eyesight. Terraowl primarily lives in fields and forests, where it makes underground nests. It hunts Pokemon like Creeping Bag and Ladboink. For its shiny, Terraowl takes on the coloring of Underowl and Sandowl, with the addition of red eyes like albino rabbits. What do you think of Terraowl? Personally, I love the design. And I'm especially excited that it becomes a normal type. Because did you know that there's no Pokemon that gains the normal type upon evolving? I thought Terraowl would be the perfect Pokemon to do this with. It blurs the line between the regional bird and regional rodent, creating a great balance between the two. See what I did there? So what do you think of the now complete alternative Sandowl line? Or do you still prefer the original owl route? I love how each evolution incorporates elements from the others. It's amazing to see how many different versions and interpretation I can create from my childhood drawings. Now, that's all the Pokemon I made for this video. Let me know which one you like the most, personally, even though I'm a huge fan of all these Fakemon designs. Terraowl takes the top spot for me this time around. And like always, here's the hint for the next episode, which will be an Halloween themed video. Creature on the right comes from a show. Which show does it come from? Let me know your guesses in the comments and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Also, be sure to check out these two videos where I create the Sandowl line, or check out my camping Pokemon video. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to recreate them all next time. Mads out.